Hello, it is a beautiful spring day, a little bit breezy, a little bit cloudy, a little bit sunny, but today I am out here to do some cleanup. We had some trimming done on the trees, on this dwarf birch tree and the little leaf linden, some minor pruning, and there are some branches that are on the ground. So I'm going to get those all collected and put into the green bin. And I just wanted to do an update on my little area here, this dwarf birch tree garden. It is looking great. I had sheet mulched it last year and I'm very happy with that. There's very little weeds that have come up, so that's great. And we have some of my perennials starting to peek through, so let's take a look. So the first thing I noticed right away is this pulmonaria. So this is Twinkle Toes pulmonaria with the pink and blue flowers. And you can see the beautiful buds, beautiful flowers. I love the color. And it's grown a bit since it was put in. There's another one here under the tree that's a little bit smaller. So hopefully that will fill out over time as well. I think I actually had more, but I don't see them. Hopefully I didn't lose them, but in any event. The other thing that I really noticed is the lamium. So you can see I have it dotted kind of throughout here, the tree there, and I see some blooms on that as well. You see those lovely pink blooms there? How cute is that? I'm hoping that spreads as well. I have a smaller one here which isn't doing as great, and you can see there's a little bit of grass coming in through there, so hopefully I'll be able to take care of that. Here is my pumpkin spice euchre, looking great. And you can see these shrubs here. So these were already here, these three. And you can see the new growth on them is this beautiful red color. And I had kind of pruned these for size control. And I think, I probably have to cut that one down a little bit more. But I believe this is Pieris japonica or Andromeda, because here you can see the blooms. They're like bell-like white blooms. Those are faded, but that is what I understand Pieris japonica looks like. And you may recall I planted some tulips in this area here, and they're starting to pop up. Can't remember what kind they were, but you can see that lovely purple color there. And my hickory and coral bells are starting to kind of look better and better, which is great. Let's just pop over here. So you can see, I think I had some mahogany monsters, some toffee twists, some wild berry hickory. This one is not looking great here, but it's got a little bit of leaves, so we'll see what happens with that one. May have to replace it. And these three are looking really nice. They're so bright and vibrant. Those are the toffee tart, I believe. And also we have a bleeding heart. So that's the traditional bleeding heart, and you can see it's already blooming, popping out. So lovely. I love bleeding hearts. The proven winners ones, I think it's pink diamonds. Those ones I don't see popping out quite yet, so hopefully they're still coming. And also if we swing over, I did plant some muscari last year. I think they were called baby's breath, the colors. So you can see those are starting to come up. And they're not in full bloom yet, but I got these specifically for the color, and the color is looking amazing. And back here in that pot, I've got a mock orange. That's the Illuminati Tower mock orange, and it was just sticks. So it was just brown sticks, and it's totally leafed out. It is deciduous, but apparently the blooms are this beautiful, like little white blooms that smell amazing. So looking forward to that blooming. And just swinging over. So I've got to clean up some of these branches today. And I wanted to just show this corner here, because we have a lot of dogs that walk by on this path as well as people, especially in the summer. So I had this lilac tree and I decided to put it in this corner because grass doesn't really grow that well in this corner. And you know, dogs do go pee on there and the grass just isn't doing well. So I thought I'd just reclaim it and maybe put a garden bed there, plant some things, and hopefully this lilac tree will do really well here. So the other thing is that when people walk by, they'll get this beautiful scent, which will be really nice. And you can see that here it is budding up. So it should be blooming soon. And I'll just show the tag here. So this is something I overwintered. I got on sale at the end of the season. It's a dwarf Korean lilac, Syringa Mary Palapin. And I believe it's on standard, so it won't look like this bush form, it'll look like a tree form. And you can see that it's cold tolerant down to zone 2, which is great. It takes full sun to part shade, and it has fragrant blooms. And on this side here, you can see a little bit more about it, how to care for it. You take a screenshot of that if you want to, but in any event, I'm really looking forward to that blooming. And I want to just fill out this garden bed here with something a little bit better. And one thing about this soil, it's kind of like builder's soil, so it's extremely rocky, very hard to dig in. You can see all the little pebbles and stuff underneath here, which is like not great soil, but it is good drainage. So I think with good drainage, I can get plants like lavender in here perhaps. And in the backyard, I do have a couple of hydrangeas that aren't doing well in their spot. I don't think they get enough sun. Those are, I believe, Limettas. So I was debating moving them out here because here we get consistent sun in the morning, like this kind of eastern, southern facing. So I think they would get a good amount of sun here. They would probably do well. Only thing is it is a little bit dry out here in this corner. It gets super dry. And there is this tree which is a little leaf linden, and that will eventually provide some shade, which I think will prevent some burning on the Limetta hydrangeas, which might be good. So today I'm hoping to kind of work on this area, move those hydrangeas, and possibly move some lavender, and also clean up the front yard with the branches. So it might be a little ambitious, but we'll see how far we get, because it is such a beautiful day. It's not raining, so it's really nice to get out here. And I should also just show off, so these are my crocus, but they haven't really bloomed this year, so they might still be blooming, but usually they're bloomed out by now. But it was kind of a weird spring and winter. We had some warmth in January and then a cold snap in February, so in any event, there is a clematis on this tree, and you can see the buds on that, so that's exciting to see those buds with clematis. I can't remember what type it is, but it's looking healthy, and excited to see that bloom. Right. And just another angle here, I can show you this hydrangea on standard. This is a pinky winky, and I did trim it back, and you can see that now it's budding up, so that's exciting, seeing all the new buds. And I love pinky winky. And also you can see that there's also a clematis growing up this hydrangea, and that looks pretty vigorous even with the wind. And I can show you here, you can see that is also looks like it's going to be budding up pretty soon. So really exciting things happening in the garden right now. So we've managed to pick up all of the little bits of branches and have filled up the green bin with those. And for the progress on this new garden bed, I can show you where we're at now. I think I might actually make this a little bit more of a curve because it looks a little bit sharp here. But I'm making this trench to keep the grass out so the mulch will kind of fall into there. And also you can see, excuse the wind here, but the grass had been growing over the sidewalk. So you can see, like, here's our neighbor's driveway, had been growing over that, and then here on top of the sidewalk, so just a very untidy look without that sharp edge. So I did try to take out as much as I could. I'm going to try to keep a little trench here on the sidewalk. If I show you on this side, you can see what I mean. So you can see that the grass is kind of encroaching onto the sidewalk, which doesn't look good. And then bad news, I found this grub of what I believe is a European Chafer Beetle. Which is, I believe it's an invasive pest, but it is not good to see that. So I've seen a couple of those in the digging process here. And the other kind of bad news is that there is this like green plastic netting underneath the grass, which is such an annoyance. I think it was originally put in to keep the grass seed in place, but have to remove all of that as we go, which is quite annoying. So anyhow, that's where we're at so far. So we've removed the trench, and like I said, I think I'm just going to make a little bit more of a gentle curve before we wrap up for today. So here is the hydrangea that I'm going to transplant, and I think it is a Limetta. So it doesn't look great, and I've loosened the soil around the root ball. I'm going to try to knock off as much soil as I can. I think there are some signs of life, and I think it'll do a lot better in its new location. So here we are with the hydrangea moved into its new spot. I figure that this is probably the best spot to put it because there will be shade from this little leaf linden tree here that has a canopy above, and when it leaves out, it's going to provide some shade in the afternoon. So I think that'll help prevent the panicle hydrangea Limetta from burning or scorching. And it also will get some shade from the lilac tree. So that's why I think that's the best spot for it for now. If not, can always move it. Made some good progress. Came across a lot of these European Chafer grubs, which are so nasty. I'll get a close-up on one here. Yep, just lovely. So a lot of those in there, which I think that's why the grass, another reason why the grass was not doing so well in this area, because I think they feed on the roots of the grass. So I think putting in a garden bed there is probably better. And then because it is a very hot and dry area in the summer, I think a good plan will be to put in some drought tolerant plants. So my plan is, I'm thinking maybe some lavender along the edge, and maybe some Russian sage perhaps, coneflower. So, you know, I'm debating those types of plants, but I don't have to do it all at once. So I'm just gonna get the garden bed ready for now. You can see there's still some grass in there, so I do have to pull out some grass, except my green bin is totally full for this week. And once that is emptied, then what I'll do is I'll remove more of that grass, get as much of it out as I can. And then I'm gonna be probably doing sheet mulching with the cardboard again, because I think that really helps a lot with weeds. That helped in the other garden that I did with the sheet mulching. I noticed a significant decrease in weeds for this garden here. So I'm going to start collecting the cardboard and then adding mulch to finish it off. And there's this big rock here. I'm going to leave that in here for interest, and we'll see how that goes. I might actually even move this rock as well to make it more balanced, but we'll see. So I'm fighting the plastic, fighting the European Chafer Beetle, fighting the grass. Hopefully it'll be worth it. So I was a little bit impatient, so what I did is I dug up the lavender that was here. It is in too much shade in this location, and even though it bloomed, it wasn't living its best life. So it's kind of, dug up, and I've dug out as much grass as I could from it. It had some grass growing through it. And I've brought it over to the new garden bed, and I think I'm just gonna put it kind of on a diagonal across from the hydrangea in this corner. And you can see it has some new growth on it. It's looking good. I think it'll do well there, and if not, it's okay. It's quite old, so if it doesn't survive, I'm not going to be upset about it. I can just replace it. I'll probably get a new fresh lavender there. And just a closer up of this sandy soil, just to show that I think this will be ideal for lavender, because it is kind of gravelly and sandy and very dry next to the sidewalk here. So fingers crossed, this will be a right plant, right place situation. So here is a sign of a good day's work in the garden. This is the green bin here that they collect weekly for compost purposes, and you can see it is very full. And actually I do have a wheelbarrow full of more stuff that will go out next week. But let's look at what we accomplished today. So I did take out the lavender that was in this spot to move to the front, and what I replaced it with is a wee white hydrangea. So that is a very small hydrangea that gets I think maximum like 2 to 3 feet tall and round. So I figured that's probably a good spot for it. It will do better there, I think, than where it was previously. It is kind of a part shady area. So anyways, we'll try it this year, and if it doesn't work, we can always move it again. But I figured that's a good spot for it. And then I actually have some room actually to do some more underplanting there later. And where I moved that hydrangea, the wee white, is from here. So it wasn't doing too well here. So hopefully that'll be a better spot for it. And now moving over to this garden bed, which is a major work in progress. So I did manage to find the Limetta, and I cut it back pretty severely, but it doesn't look great, but it does have some life in it yet. So I have high hopes for that one. And I did move that lavender from where the wee white currently is, and actually it looks like it has new growth on it, so I think that one will be fine. And I do want to fill in the front with lavender, so I did find 2 other plants that I was able to transplant. This one's very small and it barely had any roots, but there's signs of life, and then there's this one on the corner here. So hopefully those will kind of fill in. And then when I get a chance, I think I'll pick up 2 more to put one here and one here, so it'll be a nice hedge. The good thing about lavender is that, you know, dogs, I think, are turned off by the smell, so hopefully they won't pee here, because as you can see, it's a sidewalk and there's lots of pedestrian traffic, lots of dogs in the summer, and they were using this as a peeing spot, so the grass kept dying. And my hope is that the lavender, the strong smell, will be a turn-off for them. And I'm not going to mulch or do anything yet, because it's still just a work in progress. But I have a lot of dirt here, which has raised the level a bit, because I have to dig out like that grass. So what I'll do is I'll wait till next week when I have space in the green bin again, and I'll try to rake out some of this grass a little bit more before I do any kind of mulching. And then in the meantime, think of some plants I can put in here, which might be nice to do some annuals, but it's still a little bit early in the season. It's still spring, and I think we're past our freezing dates, but still not warm enough to put in any heat-loving plants. And I probably need to take this off at some point, but it does get windy, so I'm gonna have to stake it for a little bit longer. All right, thanks for joining me.